Do you have a subversive thinker, living or dead, could be a writer, could be even a business person, that you think people should look up, look into, know more about? That's underrated and would influence people in a good direction.
Subversive thinker that's underrated.
Yeah.
I'll probably get in trouble for saying this.
Nah,
I mean, I'd say, how about like Theodore Kaczynski?
good one. Actually, yeah.
Uh, Probably not great to be talking about Unabomber while campaigning, but and look, I shouldn't have to say the obvious, right? Which is like he's a terrorist. He shouldn't hurt people, obviously.
Of course, but his book is pretty good.
But, well, yeah, I mean, and there's a lot that I disagree with, right? Like this is not an endorsement, but like there's a lot of insight there. There's a lot that is correct. Like
women are not paid less in America than men. It's a left-wing narrative, this gender pay gap. When you control for the occupations, when you control for people taking time out to, birth children, things are actually pretty equal. And men do the most dangerous jobs. Men are the ones who are the police officers. Not all of it, but 80% of it in this country. Men are the ones who are doing risky, fishing, crab fishing in Alaska. And sometimes those jobs pay more. Sometimes those jobs pay more, and so I think we got to push back on the fake left-wing narrative that women don't have equal rights in this country. I want women to have equal rights, but we don't need an equal rights amendment that would actually just be a Trojan horse to give the government more power to implement Kamala Harris's national gender strategy, right? This is what the left does, and we have to resist it.
Media and the left lectured us over the past years, follow the science. We're going to exactly do that and follow the science, right? So that means only biological females can play on biological female teams. I don't know how a biological male can join a girls' team, go from like 500, 467, on the men's team, go to the females' team, he's number one. Is that fair? Follow the science. We will. Yep. On day one, you can only use the bathroom that your biology anatomy says and not the one you... I mean, this is how low we've gone.
Negative ads on Trump? Oh my gosh, where's my husband? My husband's my second favorite man. I'm just putting it that way right now. As a journalist, you don't speak about your support for candidates. I supported President Trump privately from the minute he came down that escalator.
He caused this fentanyl crisis. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You don't think Joe Biden caused it? I'd love to argue that guy. I'd love to have a discussion with that guy. See, this is how delusional the other side is. This is how delusional they are. Go home to mommy. Go home to mommy. Go back to the basement and get on Twitter. So, hey, listen, he doesn't, you know what? I'm not mad at him because they've been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed. Joe Biden pulled back a border policy that was working. We have fentanyl pouring across our border. I was just there yesterday. It's pouring across at rates that we've never seen before. Enough to kill every man, woman, and child 7 times over in this country. That is a weapon of mass destruction. I'm not okay with that, and I don't think you guys are either.
Early on in the race, you said that you were opposed to any exceptions for an abortion. So why the change?
Well, it wasn't a change. I said I support life. Georgia is a state, respects life. I will be a senator that protects life. And what I said then, I said I support life. I will always support life. But I said I also support what the people's voice is. The people's voice is the Georgia Heartbeat Bill, which has exceptions in it. Well, I'm a senator for the people. And I said one of the problems we have, senators went to Washington and forgot about the people, put them there. They're supposed to represent the people, not themselves.
Early in this race, though, you had indicated you don't want any exceptions. The heartbeat bill does have exceptions.
No. I said I'm for life. I never said I didn't have an exception. I said I'm for life. And then I said, the governor has a great bill. The heartbeat bill is a great bill. It has exceptions in it. whether I agree with that, I'm for the people, what the people want. That's who you're supposed to represent.
It's a
not
subtle
about
shift
you.
in
Remember this.
Early on in the race, you
remember
said
when you
without
go
exceptions.
to office, it's not your personal views, it's what the people want. And that's what they've forgotten about.
We, in America, have some of the cleanest air and cleanest water of anybody in the world. So what we do is we're going to put from the Green New Deal millions or billions of dollars cleaning our good air up. So all of a sudden China and India ain't putting nothing in there cleaning that situation up. So all that bad air is still there. But since we don't control the air, our good air decided to float over to China, bad air. So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space. And now we got to clean that back up.
The things I personally witnessed were never resolved. So, of course, I have those concerns. But some, like that individual you referred to, he's just a vulgar person. And some people, they have their own secret agendas for being. So it's kind of bizarre, to be honest with you, that when citizens bring forth legitimate concerns, like, for example, Jocelyn Benson trying to get a case tossed out of court where they want her to simply remove dead people from the voter rolls. Or I've talked to a lot of people who have spouses who are non-citizens who are registered to vote. And this non-citizen, who's in the country legally, by the way, did not register themselves to vote. Pointing those things out are very legitimate. That's not a conspiracy theory. And so what should concern Michiganders is why there's such a coordinated effort to suppress the truth.
An event about children using litter boxes in schools. There's no
that's
proof.
not what I said.
Okay, well then tell me what you said. I heard the audio.
So what? Yeah. So what I was talking about is all the craziness going on in our schools, and this is just one of them. And I had a parent and a student in that audience who came up to me and told me all about it. I've had that all across the state. So I'm only articulating what I heard from Granite Staters, parents and children. Craziness is going on in our schools. Senator Hassan is responsible for it. She's doubled down on all the bad education policies out there. So you should be asking her why our children can't read and write to grade level, why we have the lowest scores, why we can't compete in the world, why our children require remedial courses to go to college. It's because she has took her eye off the ball on the future of our nation, and that's our children and grandchildren.
So you had a parent tell you
yes,
that this was
parent
happening
and
in the
student.
school. Okay.
Happening in the schools.
Because the school has come out and said that that's completely false.
Well, they came out and said they didn't mass children. They came out and said they didn't do a lot of things, right? They don't teach CRT, which they do. They don't teach transgender, which they do. I'm not backing down, okay? You got the wrong guy. Just because they say it, they need to prove it. Prove it. I got parents and kids telling me they need to prove it to us. I don't need to prove it to them.